comes to electric vehicles, inevitably the conversation centers around sustainability. Now, for people like me, it also has to be married with good performance. And that's where today and the last couple of days, in fact, things have been great. But the interesting thing is that with this particular brand of cars or cars like this, sustainability also now starts to talk to the whole luxury angle. I mean, the definition of what we called luxury in the past has been rapidly evolving. Today, luxury stands for technology, and it also stands, in many ways, for just being kinder to the planet.
I wanna travel the world with you.
Getting there, but it's getting so hard.
So it's a little over an hour since we left San Francisco, made our way up to the very famous Napa and Sonoma wine country, just north of San Francisco City. I said it's famous because the world over, everybody knows California wine now. And when it comes to New World wine, this is really the hub. Now, you might wonder why I'd want to come to a vineyard or a winery. The Robert Young estate here has been with this particular family, the Young family, for over 5 generations. And it talks to a certain tradition, a certain kind of experience that kind of goes hand in hand with everything high-end. Now, with a car like the EQS, remember that the kind of people who buy into this experience are people who are used to the finer things in life, and we wanted to get a little taste of that today. So, quite literally, there's going to be some wine tasting, which means my driving for the day is pretty much done. But you know what? It's the spectacular countryside, it's the beautiful rolling hills, and all of the grapevine that I hope will make up for not driving the rest of the day. All right, so first thing in the morning, very important to get your fix of Joe. We are all set to get back on the road. I'm finally switching to this car. Yogen, you can't have it.
So I'm gonna
I'll take it from you once you're tired in a few minutes.
That's in theory. So, Yosemite next. See you there.
Yes, I'm gonna see you.
Get behind the wheel of the EQS. You know, the last 2 days I have just spent my time being very conscious of how much range is left and driving as frugally as I possibly can to extend and maximize that range. I finally have that pressure lifted off of me. In fact, I'm going to live on the wild side and switch to sport for the first time. There's that sound. This feels good. So if day 1 was all about the really long distance drive, day 2 was more about San Francisco and wine country. Today it's about gorgeous natural beauty. The state of California is lucky. It is really endowed with so much variety of terrain, and there's so much here to explore and see. It also has a lot of really famous national parks. A lot of people make trips every year to many of these parks. Yosemite is probably one of the most popular, and I've never been there, so I'm really excited about heading to the Yosemite National Park today. We're just short of the entrance to the Yosemite National Park, but of course, it's time to plug in and get some charge because, you know, going in there, obviously there won't be so many chargers available. Now, the interesting thing is that I know I was talking about how the EQB is the one to worry about for us on our road trip, but you know what? Going through some of these nice mountain roads right now, it's actually picked up a lot in terms of regen charge. So as it turns out, it's not run out of charge by the time we've reached here, but it's also a good time to stop for lunch. Now, all across the US, you have a big charging network that's been coming up, different players. Electrify America is one we've been using, ChargePoint is another one. Now, the good thing is that in California, I think you get a whole lot more of them in terms of, you know, shorter distances where they're all available.
Flowers brought my stomach in knots. You never seem to be scared.
So nice and full. Cars are also nice and full. Let's go ahead and enter Yosemite now. So we're about to enter Yosemite National Park, and you can see that the entire terrain, the landscape has changed. It's a lot colder here, obviously, because we've been lucky enough to get to see some snow on the ground, and it's going to get even more spectacular as we drive in to the massive, very famous national park. Now, if you're thinking how massive, over 760,000 acres of beautiful granite rock, lovely forests, waterfalls. Can't wait. As we moved from the coast to the mountains, the weather kept getting colder, reaching sub-zero around Yosemite. While there have been questions in the past on the performance of EVs in colder weather and on mountain roads, let me assure you that things were in fact exactly the opposite for us. The information from the dash was always accurate, and while charging infrastructure was limited, it wasn't a worry, even for a minute. World famous tunnel view behind us. We just made it. I mean, the light's almost gone, but you get to at least take a look at it. I mean, that is just simply stunning. It's very cold, so let me tell you very quickly what we're looking at. That is El Capitan, huge, massive granite block. Then you've got the Half Dome and the Sentinel Mountain. Beautiful valley down there. You can't really pick up on the falls, but you know what? It was worth the drive, it's worth the cold, and it's absolutely lovely being here. It's been a fantastic 5 days here on the road with these two cars. Not only have I made some great memories and seen some absolutely magnificent sights, but I've also been able to learn a lot about how it works in the real world with different kinds of electric cars, their application, the pain points, and also just how much fun they can be to drive. I hope you've enjoyed that as well, and if you have any questions or comments, remember to post them right here for us to get back to you on. Now, before I get going, because our drive isn't quite over yet, we've still got another 500 kilometers to do to get all the way back to Pasadena, close to Los Angeles. And until then, I'm going to try and soak in some of this beautiful air, and maybe time for one more photograph of the lake. You take care.